I don't know, maybe you've seen these. I've been seeing them a lot lately myself, these bumper stickers and t-shirts and even little widgets on your desktop. They say 12009, the end of an era. I've been seeing these for a while, and well, we all know what the error is. I mean, the error is Bush, it's Cheney, it's the stealing of the election in 2000 and the inauguration in January 20th in 2001. But that's only one error. There have been so many errors. I mean, it's been an administration full of errors. Failure to heed warnings of 9/11, misguided information about Iraq, mishandling of Katrina, mission accomplished, on and on and on. So 12009, the end of an era. In a year from now, a year from today, we'll have a new president. Bush and Cheney will be gone, out of the White House forever. Finally, the error will be corrected. But I've been looking at this and thinking about this, and there's something that just unnerves me about it, and maybe I'm just a little paranoid, but what happens if the 12009 bumper stickers are themselves in error? Not that they're wrong that that's the date on which Bush and Cheney are supposed to leave, but what if they don't? What if they don't leave? I mean, they've spent more than 7 years taking as much power, expanding the executive branch more than any presidency in the history of this nation. They've issued signing statements, they've made recess appointments, and on and on and on. So why should we think that just because the Constitution now says, okay, time to go, January 20th, 2009, why should we think they're actually going to go? This is what's really, really been bothering me. And I just felt that I had to say something. I had to say something to somebody. So just imagine this. I mean, imagine that they just decide they're not going to go. Let's say they take advantage of the State of Emergency Act that was passed by Congress in 2006, an act which says that the president can declare a state of emergency and suspend lawful operations of the government, can call up the National Guard in the case of another terrorist attack, civil unrest, a natural disaster, or any threat that the president deems necessary. If you don't believe it, look it up. It's the Warner Act of 2006. And what that act says is that the president, this president, or any president, can declare a state of emergency and suspend lawful ruling of government. So let's say they did. Let's say that there was an election, and let's say a Democrat won. Let's say it was Hillary Clinton, or Barack Obama, or John Edwards. And let's say Bush and Cheney feel that this itself is a disaster. And so they trump up a charge, or maybe they don't even have to trump up a charge, and then they suggest that declare a state of emergency. And they go on national TV, and Bush announces that he's declaring the state of emergency for the good of the United States, for the good of the American people. And the media cover this. And he announces that at this time, due to the secret information that they've obtained about a plan to commit multiple terrorist acts in multiple sites simultaneously in the United States, that it would be too dangerous to have a transfer of power, too dangerous to allow an inexperienced president like Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton or John Edwards into the White House, and that this is exactly what the terrorists want. What if they make this decision? What if they say they aren't going to leave? Who's going to stop them? Who could make him leave office? When I ask people this, and I've been asking people this now for a couple of months, what they basically say is, well, they can't do that. the Constitution says that they have to leave. In fact, the 20th Amendment of the Constitution says that the inauguration takes place on January 20th of the year following the election. But this administration has ignored the Constitution for nearly 8 years. Why would they have to obey it now? Who would stop them? Would the Congress stop them? The Congress who passed the National Security Act, the State of Emergency Act, the Congress who approved the resolution to wage war against Iraq, who approved a resolution against Iran, the Congress who took what General Petraeus had to say at face value, the Congress who condemned MoveOn.org for publishing an ad that questioned General Petraeus, would they countermand, would they go against this president? What about the Capitol Police? Would they just take them out of office? Would they simply move into the White House? Bush could call up the National Guard. He could command his military to protect him. Who's going to stop that? Or the courts. What about the courts? Maybe by a 5-4 vote, they would approve the rule that the new president had to be sworn in. But who would enforce the court's edict? Who can we count on to get them to leave? Maybe the media. Maybe the media would do it. Clearly, we know that the media would be up in arms about this. Or would the media help the White House? Would they help the presidency in this? Just as they helped the Bush administration in the run-up to the Iraq War by pre-mediating that war before it had ever happened, by making it seem inevitable so that when it happened, people were essentially okay. People didn't really protest. They didn't really object. Would the media do it? I don't know. And if they did, what would happen then? What about the people? Maybe we would riot. Maybe there would be the 60s all over again, riots in the street. But would that really work? How would people be mobilized? Would the blogosphere do it? Would bloggers and other social networkers mobilize people and get them out in the street? Or would they simply produce more blog entries? Simply produce more media, more talk, but change nothing? Would we simply continue to go on as we have? Because if life does go on as it has, if a state of emergency is declared and elections are suspended, but the schools remain open, businesses remain open, the media remains open, television programs are run, newspapers are printed, internet is up and running, your email works, your cell phones work, you can text. So what's the big deal? So the president doesn't leave. Everything else is just as it was. What could we possibly do? Is there anything we could possibly do? I don't know. I just don't know. But I had to say something. I've been so unnerved. It's been such an irritating thought, more than a thought. It's been eating away at me. And I had to say something to people. I just had to say something. So I'm saying something to you, and if you say something to someone else, and to someone else after that, send this video, circulate emails, let people know, maybe, just maybe, by our pre-mediating this paranoid fantasy of mine that Bush and Cheney might not leave, maybe we could launch our own preemptive strike. A preemptive strike that would prevent the greatest threat to democracy in the history of the United States.